I get asked this question almost every single week. Rory, what does it actually cost to build in the Charlotte market right now on a cost per square foot basis? A lot of times you're going to look at numbers online and those numbers are going to be way too low, or they're not taking into consideration all the different variables that can exist for a real life project. So today I'm going to give you guys some realistic ranges, the same things that I use with my clients, based on what I'm actually seeing on the ground as somebody who's literally built hundreds of homes here in the Charlotte market before I got into the brokerage world. I'm Rory Cummins, I'm a Charlotte native, I'm a longtime real estate broker. We've got a team here at Clients First Property Group powered by EXP, and a general contractor who's built hundreds of homes and remodeled dozens more as both an investor and a homeowner. So whether you're looking to build your custom home as a homeowner or you're looking to underwrite a project as an investor, today we're going to get into a cost per square foot numbers game on what things actually cost, because there's a lot of things that, like I said, are variables that things are not taking into consideration when you're actually searching online to run these numbers. So let's dive into it. So first things first, when it comes to production built homes, those are typically going to range about 180 to 250 a square foot. A lot of things that can differ there, we're going to get into in a second, but let's just say standard finishes on a production built home, 180 to 250. As for mid-range, that's going to be a nicer quality production built home or a traditional custom built home. Those are going to range about 250 to 350 a square foot. And then on the true custom homes, like you're going to go in there and just customize everything, you're usually anywhere from 350 to 500. There's obviously a lot of variation right there, and for good reason. You know, when you're going true custom, the cost can really explode depending on what you're going to do. So with that being said, let's kind of jump into why the numbers that you might find online or in the real world can differ so much because of the different variables that exist. So first things first, let's talk about when we get into price per square foot, what are they actually typically referring to when you go online? A lot of the things that get left out with that is going to be your site work and your soft costs. So site work is going to be the grading, putting in the infrastructure for your water and sewer lines. If there's not, already on the property, like let's say you've got well and septic, or you've got a brand new construction on a property that doesn't already have the sewer tap and everything put in place. And it could be topo issues, topography for slope, right? Like if you've got a lot of clearing and grading and dirt that's got to get moved around, you could have bad soil. That can drive up the cost. They've got to bring in actual structural fill on the lot to build up the foundation. Or if you have other things that could affect the site work itself. Other things that can impact that is the soft costs. When you get into the architecturals, the engineering costs, the permitting costs, a lot of times those numbers do not get factored in a cost per square foot number when you look online, when you start researching things. So when you're talking to builders, you want to find out, are they giving you a quote on the all-in numbers in terms of the site work and the soft costs, or is it just the actual sticks and bricks hard cost numbers that you're going to see on a price per square foot basis, so that you're really comparing apples to apples? Because some people will shop builders, some builder may not be quoting you a full turnkey price with or without their GC fee involved in it too. So you really want to make sure that you're getting the correct numbers. The other things that can obviously impact it heavily when you're looking at a traditional single family home is what kind of foundation are you going to have? Are you going to have a slab, a concrete foundation? Is it going to be a crawl space? Is it going to be a basement? I can tell you that the difference between a slab and a crawl space can have anywhere from 20 to 35 grand difference between the two. And then going from a crawl space to a basement could also add anywhere from $25,000 up to $50,000 in difference. It really depends on obviously how big the house is going to be and all the other variables. But when you get down to the basics of it, this is an important thing, right? If you're going to build on a slab, you're going to save a lot of cost versus a crawl space or a basement lot. That kind of gets into the site work as well as the actual labor and materials it is going to be for the foundation itself. Another thing to factor in is a one-story home versus a two-story home. Just to be very simplified here, if you're going to have two-story square footage versus a sprawling one-story ranch, let's say if it's a 2,500 square foot home, the cost to build a two-story home is going to be much less because you're going to get economies of scale when you go vertical than you will with expanding the footprint of your roof and your foundation itself, right? So these are also things to consider. So when you're looking at these numbers, when you're like, why does it vary so much between 180 to 250 or 250 to 350? These are the actual reasons. It's the site costs and it's the style of the construction. It's not just the finishes. But that being said, your finishes do impact the bottom dollar more heavily than anything else. because the overall square footage is most impacted by the finishes you're choosing, right? So are you doing vinyl? Are you doing cement board siding like hardy plank? Or are you doing brick or stucco, right? That's the exterior. What kind of roof are you going with? Most people do, a standard architectural shingle in Charlotte, but if you're gonna put on something fancy like a standing seam metal roof or Spanish tile roof or something like that, it's going to drive up the cost heavily. The architecture itself can impact the cost as well. Is it going to be a very boxy home with traditional, standard size windows, or are you going with very custom sized windows, a lot of, bump outs on the architecture, a lot of valleys and everything on your roof line and stuff with the different pitches? This just makes it more complex to install for your trades, and that's going to drive up cost too. So you need to think about all these different variables, and that kind of helps you get your head around the complexity of the build itself. The more simple it is, the more basic it is, the lower that cost should be when you're getting quoted from a builder. Other things to consider is the location of the home. There's not going to be that much difference whether you're in, one part of Charlotte versus the other when it comes to material costs. But obviously there are things that can factor into that, so that is something to take into consideration. And then of course, are there trees on the lot? Do you have other issues that are going on there that have to have a lot of grading and clearing versus something that's already, cleared and ready to roll? So when you're looking at a proposed site or land to buy, as an example, is it a treed lot with no infrastructure in it, no utilities in the ground? Or are you, selecting something that either already has a house on it or is a cleared lot that's already ready to go? And I do want to point out something really quickly. A lot of people make a misconception of, what it costs to tear down a home and build something. It typically only costs y'all like $9,000 to $15,000 to remove a standard size older home, like a little 1,000 square foot house or something like that, to build something new on that lot, compared to it being a lot more expensive to, go in with a lot that's got trees on it that has no infrastructure. That would actually be more expensive, where you got to move a bunch of dirt around, clear the trees, put the infrastructure in, than going onto a lot that you're just going to remove a home that's going to take, a contracting company typically 1 to 2 days to demo, that's already got the infrastructure there on site. So that's something, I just want to throw out there, because there's a lot of infill homes being built right now in the center of Charlotte. So that is definitely a factor. Other things that you want to take into consideration, of course, is aside from the selections that you make on the inside, whether you're going LVP flooring versus hardwood floors, you're going high-end quartz countertops versus laminate, all these things are going to matter on the inside. But when you kind of put it all together, the bigger you go, the lower your price per square foot number is going to be, right? So if you're going to build a 1,500 square foot home, you would think that your cost per square foot might not be as much, but actually a 3,000 square foot home is going to have a much lower price per square foot than the 1,500 square foot home. And why is that? Because things like bathrooms and kitchens cost more, and you have a lot of just open space on a 3,000 square foot home, like bonus rooms and larger living rooms, larger other rooms that just have a base level of flooring and open space, compared to a 1,500 square foot home that's going to be very dense, and it's going to, let's say, have a standard kitchen with 2 or 2.5 bathrooms in it. There's not enough square footage to spread out the construction cost. So these are all things to consider when you're looking at all that. And the other things that can obviously vary, and I'm shooting this in 2026 as we're watching this video, but the other things that can also vary is going to be the construction pricing, both on labor and materials, right? So the cost of lumber fluctuates daily, and so does the cost of labor, so does the cost of concrete. These are probably the biggest drivers that are going to affect the actual build cost at the time of you building. And then of course there's the soft costs, like we talked about in the beginning. That's going to be architectural, that's going to be the cost of engineering, stamp the plans, and then of course the permitting costs. Permitting costs are not that high, but it is a line item, or it's a number that needs to get taken into consideration. So when you're looking at a cost per square foot number, you want to make sure that it includes the site work and the soft costs plus the hard costs, so that you're actually looking at a turnkey all-in number from your builder. So those are the questions to ask when you're looking at this: is, am I getting an out-the-door cost when you're going to give me the quote on the actual project, or are they just giving you a hard cost to try to earn your business, and then they're going to drop you all the additional costs later on top of their GC fee to build. And as for the builder itself, as somebody who has managed projects before getting into the real estate brokerage world, typically GCs will either do a turnkey number or they'll do a GC fee. So let me explain the difference really quick. A GC fee is going to be just a standard flat cost that they might charge you to manage the entire project. Let's say it's $150,000 or whatever it's going to be. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less, depends on the complexity and the time it takes to build that home. But sometimes they're going to just do a percentage or cost plus as they call it. So they might charge 20, 25 or 30% of the cost to build so that they're making 20 to 30% on top of whatever it's going to be. Typically the GC is going to have better pricing than you're going to be able to get it on your own. So it definitely makes more sense to use their vendors throughout the project and let them source the material, because they're typically getting volume discounts and that helps absorb their GC fee than you going out and trying to push through all your own vendors and material costs and then just letting them manage the project for a flat one. So there's different ways to go about it. Just to reiterate, 180 to 250 a square foot on a production built home is definitely achievable. As I said, the bigger you go, the lower that per square foot number should be, price per square foot. And the more simple the home is, let's say it's a 2-story home on a slab, is going to be way cheaper to build price per square foot than a large 1-story ranch, as an example. For mid-tier pricing, that 250 to 350 per square foot, that is going to be, again, like a standard custom home or a nicer production-built home. I'll give you an example. In Charlotte, that might range between $800,000 up to like maybe 1.3, 1.5 million for, let's say, a 3,500 square foot home, something like that. That kind of puts you in that 250 to 350 range. And you're going to have nice finishes in that home, but nothing extravagant. It's not going to have any major custom features. And then, of course, when you get into the custom side, as we mentioned in the beginning, from $350 to $500 a square foot, that's going to get into a lot of custom options, a lot of custom architecture, different types of material. There's a reason why it's going to be very high, because it's very time-consuming and complex to put all that together. So naturally, it's going to be in the upper price point for a true custom home. So I hope this video helped. If you guys are looking to make a move to Charlotte, or if there's anything else I can help with, definitely reach out to our team here at Clients First. I'll be available for any questions or comments that you have. And if you love this video, hit the subscribe button, and I'll be putting out more content like this on the next videos, and I will see you on the next one.